That's some moments of madness from Coded, rolling in with some original music on the show. That's why you see me bopping coming in. And there are more than a few moments of madness happening on this Wicked Women Wednesday here on Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. Frank Morano joins me again in studio. And, Frankie, in this day and age where it's so divisive out there, everyone hates everyone. If they don't agree with each other, they can't even have a thoughtful conversation.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. And sometimes people lose sight of the fact that our country, the foundation of our country was on faith, Christianity, all those great things. It says, "In God we trust," on our dollar bill, which means the founders thought something of God. And to lighten the mood and bring in another wonderful woman, entrepreneur, financial advisor, and author, Mindie Molina joins us today, and she's the author of God Loves You, and There's Nothing Anyone Can Do About It. And Mindie, in these tough times, how important it is for people to remember that God loves you.
Well, anytime we go into an election year, the gloves come off, as we've seen in the past. And so it's definitely a time to regroup as we approach 2020 and remember what it is that we are campaigning for, but we have to refuse to hate. There's a big vibe in the campaign. You have to remember, this is your country, and that's what you're voting for. That's what you're campaigning for, the things that you want for your country, which, you're right, was founded on Christianity and the ideas that came from Jesus' teachings, which I discovered on my own, and that's why I wrote the book, God Loves You, and There's Nothing Anyone Can Do About It. But I think from the standpoint of Donald Trump, sometimes Christians kind of get pulled into this stereotype of being aggressive, violent, judgmental hypocrites. There's kind of a vibe there and a pulling that kind of happens where.
Got it. So you're an entrepreneur. You're also a financial advisor. But what inspired you to write this book to remind people in these tough times that God does love you?
Because, I just wanted to overcome some of the stereotypes. Once I read the Bible, I'm one of these people that has to figure it out on my own. Like, I need to know for myself what the truth is. And so I did my own studying. I did my own discovery. And once I did that, I was so shocked at how much the Bible conflicted with what I thought about Christianity. And like homosexuals, for instance, what's it mean to be Jew? Is it, if you were we fixate on sin, but what if you sin today? What's going to happen tomorrow? It's like all these questions I didn't understand, and I just wanted to overcome it, and that's what I did with this book. And the thing that I discovered is exactly what the title is that God loves you, and there's absolutely nothing anyone, including you, can do about it.
So, Mindie, and best of luck with the book, and congratulations on all the great reviews you've been getting on it. Let me ask you, though, so there are some folks in the world out there that are atheists or that are agnostics or that believe in God but not necessarily are the biggest practitioners in organized religion. And then there's other folks out there that are devout churchgoers, many of them watching right now, whatever the religion happens to be. Would you say this book is more geared towards people that already have a relationship with God, or is it more geared towards folks that you're trying to convince that maybe God has a place for them as well?
Well, that's actually a great question, because when I wrote the book, I had two people in mind, two kind of ideals. And one was for someone who was what I consider too religious. They are churchgoers, but they're also what I call Bible beaters. you know, the you're wrong and I'm right, self-righteous, and you know them. We all have that person in our life. And then I also wrote it for the person that just is disgusted by religion. And because I want them to understand, number one, the truth, and I want Christianity to be represented the right way. And I also want them to know how to coexist with the Christian. You know, it's not up to me whether you want to decide that you believe in a God, that you believe that Jesus Christ was real and who he said he was. That's up to you to decide. But I do want that if you're going to make that decision, that you make it with the right information. And you can't go by what the world is putting out there, because being a Christian is not being a hypocrite. You know, being a Christian is being no different than anybody else. I'm no saint, and I'm not here to proclaim my perfection.
Oh, no, you aren't. You're no saint, Mindy, that's for sure. We know it. We can tell. We can tell. You can't hide behind that wonderful pedigree.
And I don't want to. I want the world to know who I am as God knows who I am. You can't hide from God. So why am I going to hide from my neighbor? Like, come on. We all mess up, and we got to forgive ourselves, and we have to forgive each other. Wow. And honestly, going into this election, you know, the last election, I lost 2 really good friends that meant a lot to me, but it was just like, I couldn't be around them anymore because it was just so taxing. You know, have your beliefs. We can have a conversation about it, but if I have a different point of view, you can't hate me for it.
All right. Well, look, I don't hate you for it. I thank you very much for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. I know you may have lost a couple of friends, but I know you're still friends with the 2 Tories, and they're very excited that you're on today. And I want to thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll come back with us again soon. Mindie Molina, author of God Loves You, and There's Nothing Anyone Can Do About It. Thank you very much, Mindy. We'll talk to you soon. All right. That's Mindie Molina. And on Women Wednesday, we find the best guests, Frank. You know, they're authors, they're creatives, they're artists, like Zen, like politically motivated people like Jen Kearns. It's
I will point out that there are some authors that send us a copy of their book for free.
That's right. Well, I'll reach out to
Others
Mindy
don't.
and see if she'll get us a copy. But she did send us a free screenshot of the cover of her book, which worked just as good. But if you're not noticing, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the studio today. There's noises, there's banging, there's drilling, there's sawing. There's a significant amount of people talking when they're not supposed to be. And if you want to know who the culprits are of all that, you got to tune in Saturdays at 5 p.m. on Newsmax TV for the best shots of Liquid Lunch, where you see all the good stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And then at 6 o'clock, Michelle Malkin's going to be there. She's one of the top conservative women you're going to want to meet, and she's on Newsmax. And then at 7, the grand finale on Saturdays at 7 p.m., we got the man, the grand poobah himself, Bill O'Reilly. So we're the warm-up for Michelle Malkin, and she's the appetizer for Bill O'Reilly, and the Saturday lineup is really heating up on Newsmax. Tune in for the best shots, but don't go nowhere right now. Frank and I are going to come back and talk about the impeachment. We're going to check in and see what's happening down at the hearings, and much more right after this.